Okay, this is Flip 14. This is a completely optional assignment, and it is a opportunity for you to look at your notes and clean them up so you can study for the test next week. Monday, you will have a sub and you will meet in the chapel. Tuesday, third period will take the test, and on Wednesday, fifth and sixth will take the test. So to start, I just cut this right out of the test itself. There are several geographic regions, countries, and occupied territories that are on the test. You need to know where Israel and the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and the Golan Heights, the Sinai, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria are located. And they will have a map that will have letter codes, like on the last test, and each of the places will have a description, and the descriptions are worth reading because they might tip you off as to where something is if you don't know just from pure memory. So write down some definitions for these places in addition to just marking up the map. There are 3 cities I'm going to ask you to identify the location of. I might even add Nazareth, but I don't know if I have room for that on the test. Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Jericho for sure. And if I put Nazareth on the test, it will be up high near the Sea of Galilee. And then bodies of water that you need to know the Mediterranean. And instead of putting the Red Sea on the test, you have to identify the location of the Gulf of Suez and the Gulf of Aqaba. Again, look on your map that I gave you. It's attached to one of the flip assignments if you need to print a new one, because the location of the Suez Canal will tip you off as to which branch of the Red Sea is the Gulf of Suez. It's the left-hand side branch, if that helps. You also need to locate the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea, which should be pretty easy to do because I've had them on multiple tests. So those are the places. Jot them down, make sure that your map has these things highlighted. A lot of you wrote things down on your map that you do not need to know. I'm not going to ask you where the capital of Syria, Damascus, is. I'm not going to ask you the location of Beirut in Lebanon, or Hebron in the West Bank, or Amman, Jordan. So, speaking of places, there are 5 mountains that you need to know. I have gotten rid of Mount Carmel. I had considered that as a test question. And there are 5 cities where I'm going to give you definitions of the city, and you're going to have to match them with why they're important. And I would check back to your notes and make sure you understand the different names for Jerusalem, and also understanding that the city of David is a term that applies to more than one city, just like the city of Roses can apply to either Portland or Pasadena. Okay, moving along then. Uh, with the women, I got rid of a couple that I had originally thought we would get to. We will talk about them later. They are Queen Jezebel and the prophetess Huldah. Will not be on this test, but most of these women were characters in stories that you read in class, but then I also clarified further some things about them. If you did not do the Samson extra credit, then Delilah is the woman who cuts his hair and weakens him so that the Philistines can capture him. And famous in literature, in stories, in Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah song. So 5 women on the test. Same thing with the men. I have gotten rid of a few of the male characters I originally thought I was going to cover, notably King Hezekiah and the prophet Elijah. David, Gideon, Joshua, Samuel, Saul, and Solomon. And just a little heads up, some of those characters might appear more than once in that test section. So you should have taken some notes about what was good about Saul and what his shortcomings were, what was good about David and also what his horrible sins were, and what was good about Solomon and what was his big sin, and what were the consequences of those sins, because I will probably give you more than one question on a couple of these kings. Empires. Flip 13 has an elaborate timeline. I'm going to give you a rough version of that timeline on the test. You're not just filling in where the empires go, but I'll have the timeline. I'll have some different dates on it as well, or at least stars where important dates are. You need to know why each of these empires was important in the history of ancient Israel. That's going to set us up for Unit 3 when we come back from spring break. And I'm just kind of introducing this. We're going to talk about them over and over and over again, but you need to have good definitions for the six empires. And then the temple, I believe this was flip 11 or 12. I gave you a diagram of the temple, and that diagram was a schematic one where it was just a bunch of concentric circles, looked like a target. I also drew out a picture of the temple, and I will put that more elaborate drawing on the test with no labels on that in case that jogs your memory. But with these places of the temple, I want you to especially think about how they are connected to the life and ministry of Jesus. And if I can go back here for a moment to the places, again, why are some of these places important, not just in Old Testament stories of David and Solomon and Joshua, but why are they important in the stories of Jesus? Or why are these important places today? So, again, with the temple, why are these places important in the stories of Solomon, and why are they connected to the ministry of Jesus? Probably will not have 5 questions on the temple. I will have fewer, but you'll have 5 choices. And that might be the last slide. So, hope that was helpful for you. Very brief. I'm using a different screen recorder this time, so if you have some impressions about what's better or not so hot about it, please let me know. And I am using one of Mr. McLean's microphones, so thank him if you see him for making this a better experience, hopefully.